I was coming down the stairs when I heard it. My grandchildren laughing. Not the kind of laughter that warms your heart. The cruel kind. The kind that cuts deep. Why does he always wear gloves? That was Emma, my 10-year-old granddaughter. He looks like his face is melting. That was Jake, her 12-year-old brother. I froze on the landing. My hand gripped the railing. My throat went tight. I could barely breathe. And then I heard it, the worst part. Their mother, my own daughter Sarah, didn't stop them. She chuckled too. Soft, but I heard it. Clear as day. That laugh felt like fire all over again. I stood there for what felt like forever. Then I turned around. Went back upstairs. Back to my room. The room they gave me out of obligation, not love. Before we continue, I would like to know where you're watching from in the comment section. Also hit the subscribe button and share this video, as this will help this video to travel far so others can learn also. I sat at the edge of the bed. Gloves still on. I looked down at my hands. The scars were old. 20 years old, in fact. But that laughter, it felt like fresh fire. Like I was back in that burning factory all over again. The skin grafts had healed as much as they ever would. The doctor said I was lucky to be alive. Lucky. That word always felt wrong. I thought I'd earned peace in this house. Turns out, I was just a ghost with rent-free pity. A burden they tolerated. I remembered when Sarah was young. She used to trace my scars gently. Daddy's brave marks, she called them. Now she let her kids mock them. I wondered when everything changed. When did I become something to laugh at instead of someone to respect? Later that evening, I found something that made my blood run cold. The photo album was in the trash. Not just any album. The one with pictures from the burn unit. There was a shot of me wrapped in bandages. Tubes everywhere. I'd hidden it deep in the attic storage. They must have been snooping around up there. They didn't just see the pain. They saw it and decided it was funny. Decided I was a joke. I pulled the photo out carefully. My hands were shaking. In the picture, you could barely see my face under all the medical equipment. I remembered that day. The nurses said I shouldn't have survived. But I did. I survived for my family. For Sarah. And this was my reward. Laughter. Mockery. Trash. The next morning, I heard them whisper about me again. I was in the hallway. They didn't know I was there. He just sits around doing nothing. Jake said. He's totally useless now. Emma added. Their words hit me like punches. If only they knew what I chose to walk away from. If only they understood what I gave up. But I didn't speak up. Not yet. I wasn't ready. Part of me wanted to storm in there. Tell them everything. Show them who I really was. But another part of me, the tired part, just wanted to disappear. To fade away like they clearly wished I would. So I stayed quiet. I turned around and walked back to my room. Closed the door softly. Sat down and stared at the wall. 3 days later, Sarah sat me down. Her voice was calm. Too calm. Rehearsed. Dad, I think it's time you find a new place. Just like that. No build-up. No apology. Just a nudge out the door. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Tried to find the little girl who used to climb on my shoulders. She avoided my eyes. The kids are uncomfortable, she continued. And honestly, it's getting hard having you here. Hard. That word echoed in my head. I raised her alone after her mother died. Worked 3 jobs. Made sure she had everything. And now I was hard to have around. I understand, I said quietly. I didn't understand. But I said it anyway. She looked relieved. Like I just made her life easier. She stood up and walked away without another word. That night, I made a quiet phone call. My hands were shaking as I dialed. Hey, I said when he picked up. You still run those training drills out in Clay County? Captain Marcus Thompson laughed on the other end. A deep, warm laugh. We never stopped, Frank. We've been waiting for you. Those words hit different. Someone was waiting for me. Someone wanted me around. Can I come by tomorrow? I asked. You can come by tonight if you want. He said. Your spot never got filled. I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Something close to hope. "I'll be there tomorrow morning," I told him. After I hung up, I sat in the darkness of my room. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. The firehouse was exactly as I remembered it. The smell of smoke and steel felt like coming home. The building stood proud on the corner of 5th and Main. Red brick, silver doors, American flag waving above. I walked through those doors slowly. My heart was pounding. You'd think I was forgotten after all these years. But they kept my name on the wall. Captain Frank Morrison. Still there. Still honored. Marcus met me at the entrance. He was older now, gray at the temples. But his handshake was still firm. "Welcome back, Captain," he said. Those 2 words meant more than he could ever know. The younger firefighters looked at me curiously. They didn't know who I was yet, but they would. Soon enough, I started training recruits again. Quietly. 2 nights a week at first. The younger guys had no idea who I was. They saw an old man with scarred hands and a damaged face. They were polite, but I could see the questions in their eyes. Then one night, there was a training drill. A simulated building collapse scenario. They were struggling with the technique. Wasting time. Risking lives in a real situation. So I stepped in. I showed them the technique I invented back in 2007. The Morrison sweep. A systematic way to clear a burning building faster and safer. The method that saved an entire elementary school from burning down with everyone inside. When I finished demonstrating, the room went silent. One recruit, a young guy named Tommy, pulled out his phone, Googled my name. His jaw dropped. "You're the Frank Morrison," he whispered. I just nodded. That same week, Marcus showed me something that made my blood boil. "You need to see this," he said, handing me his phone. It was a TikTok video, posted by Emma, my own granddaughter. She'd filmed me from behind, in the kitchen. I was making eggs for breakfast. The caption read, "When the crypt keeper makes eggs." The comments were filled with laughing emojis. Strangers mocking me. My appearance. My existence. I watched it 3 times. Each time felt worse than the last. Marcus put his hand on my shoulder. "Frank, that's not right." I handed the phone back. Didn't say a word. But that night, when I got back to the house, I did something small. I unplugged the router. Let them wonder why their precious internet wasn't working. It was petty, but it felt good. 2 months into my return to the firehouse, something unexpected happened. The state fire marshal's office called. They were giving me an award, a lifetime service medal, recognition for 30 years of dedication to firefighting, 20 years since my injury. But they'd never forgotten. There was going to be a whole ceremony. Governor would be there. Press coverage. Everything. Marcus asked if I was bringing family. I looked at him. "No," I said simply. "This one's just for me." The night of the ceremony, I left the house without telling anyone where I was going. Sarah asked where I was headed, dressed in my old formal uniform. "Out," I said. "Let them wonder. Let them guess." I didn't owe them explanations anymore. That night, I received my medal in front of 300 people, and my family had no idea. May came early and angry that year. The weather was strange. Temperatures hit 95 degrees when they should have been in the 70s. Everything was dry. Dangerously dry. The Forest Service issued warnings. Red flag conditions. High fire risk. Then it happened. A wildfire sparked in the hills east of town. Started small. Grew fast. Too fast. I got the call during dinner on a Tuesday evening. My phone buzzed. Marcus's name on the screen. Level 3 spread, Frank. "We need every available firefighter. We need you." I looked at Sarah and the kids. They were eating, laughing about something on TV. Didn't even notice my phone ring. I stood up, grabbed my keys. "Where are you going?" Sarah asked. I didn't answer. Just walked out the door. I was in the fire before the news even broke the story. Helicopters overhead. Engines everywhere. Sirens wailing. 3 homes already gone. flames eating through dry brush like paper. My crew and I worked to cut a fire line by hand. Shovels, axes, chainsaws, old-fashioned firefighting. The new recruits were scared. I could see it in their eyes. But they trusted me. They followed my lead. I was wearing full gear. Helmet, mask, heavy jacket. They didn't recognize me under all that equipment. Just another firefighter doing the job. But I recognized the area. As we pushed forward, I saw street signs. Oak Hill Drive. Maple Ridge Court. My heart dropped. This was their neighborhood. Sarah's neighborhood. The fire was heading straight for them. The flames were moving fast. Wind was pushing them west. Directly toward the residential area. Toward my daughter's house. Dispatch confirmed it. Multiple families trapped on Willow Creek Road. No power. No cell service. Emergency evacuation failed. That was Sarah Street. I made the call immediately. We breached the doors. We get them out. Now. My voice was steady. But inside I was terrified. We rushed forward. Smoke was everywhere. Thick and black. The heat was intense. Even through my gear, I could feel it. We reached the first house. Sarah's house. The front door was locked. Breach it. I yelled. Tommy swung the axe. The door gave way. Smoke poured out. I went in first. Called out. Fire department. Anyone here? I heard coughing. Weak. Coming from upstairs. I found Jake first. He was in his room. Hiding under his bed. The smoke was getting to him. He was coughing hard. Couldn't breathe properly. Terrified. I reached under and pulled him out. He fought me at first. Panic does that. Makes you irrational. I've got you. I said through my mask. You're safe now. His eyes were wide. Streaming tears. He looked up at me. Trying to see through the smoke and my gear. Who are you? He choked out. I didn't answer. Couldn't. I just lifted him over my shoulder. Carried him down the stairs. Handed him to Tommy outside. Get him oxygen. Now. Then I turned around. Ran back inside. Emma was still in there. So was Sarah. I wasn't leaving without them. I found Emma in the bathroom. She tried to wet towels. Put them under the door. Smart kid. But the smoke was winning. She was passed out on the floor. Not breathing right. I scooped her up. She was lighter than I expected. So small. So fragile. I moved fast. Down the hall. Down the stairs. The ceiling was starting to crack. Flames were visible now. Coming through the walls. I got Emma outside. Medics took her immediately. Started giving her oxygen. Then I went back for Sarah. I found her near the back door. She tried to escape that way. But the door was jammed. Smoke had gotten to her. She was unconscious. My team reached her first. Got her out through the side window. I stayed behind. Checked every room. Made sure no one else was inside. My hands were blistering inside my gloves. Scar tissue on top of scar tissue. But they were all safe. That's all that mattered. By the time we cleared the house, news vans were arriving. Reporters everywhere. Cameras. Microphones. Looking for heroes. Looking for stories. I didn't want that. Never did. As soon as the scene was secure, I took off my helmet. Stripped off my jacket. Disappeared into the back of the engine truck. Marcus found me there. You okay? He asked. I nodded. Just need a minute. He understood. He always did. They're going to want to know who went in. He said gently. Don't tell them. I replied. Just say it was a team effort. He looked at me for a long moment. Then nodded. All right, Captain. Your call. I stayed in that truck until the reporters left. Until the crowds dispersed. Then I slipped away quietly. Back to my car. Back to reality. That night, the news report aired on every local channel. Unidentified firefighter saves entire family from wildfire. They had footage of the house, the flames, the rescue, but no name, no face, just unidentified hero. Sarah and the kids watched it from a hotel room. The fire department had evacuated the whole neighborhood, put everyone up in temporary housing until it was safe. They sat there wrapped in blankets, shaking, still processing. The guy who saved us never even gave his name, Sarah told the reporter in a brief interview. We owe him everything. I watched from my room back at the house, sipped my coffee, didn't say a word. Part of me wanted to tell them, but another part enjoyed the silence, the mystery. Let them wonder. Let them think. 2 days later, Emma knocked on my door. It was quiet, hesitant. 3 soft taps. Come in, I said. She opened the door slowly. Her eyes were red, hands shaking. She looked smaller somehow. Younger. Grandpa, she whispered. Her voice cracked. Was that you? I looked at her. Really looked at her. Saw the guilt in her face. The shame. The realization. Was what me? I asked calmly. The firefighter, she said. The one who saved us. Was it you? I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no either. I just held her gaze. Let her figure it out. She started crying, full-on sobbing. Tried to hug me. I let her, but I didn't hug back. Not yet. She needed to understand. Needed to feel the weight of what she'd done. I'm sorry, she kept saying. I'm so sorry, Grandpa. I patted her head gently. I know, I said quietly. The next day, they all tried to apologize. Jake came first, stammering, could barely look at me. Grandpa, I didn't mean those things I said. I was stupid. I'm really sorry. Sarah came next, eyes full of tears, voice shaking. Dad, I was wrong. So wrong. I should have stopped them. I should have known better. Emma just stood there, crying quietly. She'd already said her piece. I let them speak. Let them pour out their guilt and shame. Didn't interrupt. Didn't comfort them. Just listened. When they were done, I stood up, looked at each of them. Thank you for saying that, I said simply. Then I walked out of the room, left them sitting there. I wasn't ready to forgive yet. Maybe I would be someday, but not yet. They needed to sit with this, really sit with it. A week later, Fire Chief Marcus Thompson spoke at Hillside Elementary, Jake and Emma's school. It was a special assembly, about fire safety, about heroes in the community. But Marcus had something else planned. He told a story about a man who gave his lungs, his skin, and years of his life to protect strangers, who saved more people than anyone in the district's history, who invented techniques still used today, who walked into a burning factory to save 7 people trapped inside, who nearly died doing it, who carried scars for the rest of his life, and never once asked for recognition, never wanted the spotlight. The kids sat in silence, hundreds of them, listening. Marcus ended with one sentence. He lives among you. Then he showed a picture, my picture, from 20 years ago, before the burns. The room erupted in whispers. Jake and Emma sat frozen. Their grandfather, the joke, the burden, the hero. That afternoon, something changed in the house. Emma went to my room, stood outside for a while. I could hear her breathing on the other side of the door. Finally, she came in. Grandpa, can I see? She asked quietly. See what? I replied, though I knew what she meant. Your medals, she whispered. I nodded, opened my closet, pulled out a small wooden box, covered in dust. I hadn't opened it in years. Inside were 3 medals, service commendations, bravery awards, a letter from the mayor. Emma picked up the biggest medal carefully, like it might break. This is from 2005, she read. What happened in 2005? I sat down on the bed, took a deep breath. That's when I saved those 7 people from the factory fire, I said quietly. That's when I got these. I gestured to my face, my hands. She started crying again. You're a hero, she sobbed. And I called you. I know what you called me, I said gently. But it's okay. You didn't know. She shook her head. That doesn't make it okay. Sarah tried to hug me that evening. Really tried. Came up to me in the kitchen. Arms open. Eyes pleading. Dad, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't understand. I took a step back. Not aggressive. Just clear. Creating space. She stopped. Her arms dropped. You didn't want to know. I said quietly. Not angry. Just honest. I've been here for 8 months. You never once asked about my past. About my scars. About who I was before the burns. Her face broke. Crumbled like paper. She covered her mouth with her hand. Started shaking. You're right, she whispered. You're completely right. I nodded. I know I am. For the first time in months, I saw real understanding in her eyes. Real remorse. Not just guilt about the fire, but guilt about everything. About the months of dismissal. The mockery. The invisibility. I don't know how to make this right, she said. Neither do I replied. And I walked away. 2 weeks later, I moved out. No drama. No big speech. Just quietly packed my things. The city fire department had offered me housing months ago. I turned it down because I thought I should stay with family. Thought that's what you did. But family isn't just blood. It's respect. It's love. It's seeing people for who they really are. I left a note on the kitchen table. Folded neatly. Simple words. Never confuse silence with absence. Or scars with weakness. Thank you for the roof. But I need to be where I'm valued. I didn't sign it. Didn't need to. They'd know who it was from. Sarah found it that morning. Called me 17 times. I didn't answer. I was already gone. Already home. The real home. Where people understood what these scars meant. Where they saw a hero, not a burden. My new place overlooks the firehouse. 2nd floor apartment. 2 bedrooms. Kitchen. Living room. Simple but perfect. The city provided it as part of the retired firefighter housing program. I'd earned it. Nice view of the station below. I can see the trucks. The flag. The crew. Every morning. They salute when they see me on the balcony. Young and old. Doesn't matter. They see me. Really see me. No laughter. Only respect. Only honor. Marcus comes by for coffee twice a week. We talk about the old days. About the new recruits. About life. Tommy visits too. Brings his wife and baby. Shows them my medals. Tells them stories. I'm not invisible here. I'm not a joke. I'm Captain Frank Morrison. And that name means something. It always has. I just forgot for a while. But I remember now. 3 months later, Sarah brought the kids to the firehouse. It was an open day. Tours for families. Community event. They didn't know I'd be there. Didn't know what they'd find. They walked through the building. Looked at the trucks. The equipment. The history wall. And then they saw it. My plaque. Big bronze plate mounted in the Hall of Honor. Captain Frank Morrison. Hero of 2 generations. Saved 47 lives over 30 years of service. Inventor of the Morrison sweep technique. Recipient of the Governor's Medal of Valor. Below it was my photo. Not the burned version. The before version. Young. Strong. Proud. And next to it, a recent photo. The after. Scarred but standing tall. Jake read it out loud. His voice shaking. Emma just stared. Silent. No jokes. Only awe. Only understanding. Sarah put her hands on their shoulders. That's your grandfather, she whispered. That's who he really is. They stood there for a long time. Just looking. Finally seeing. And in that moment, everything changed. I watched from the office window. Marcus stood beside me. You gonna go talk to them? He asked. I thought about it. Then shook my head. Not yet, I said. Let them sit with it first. Let them really understand. He nodded. Put his hand on my shoulder. You're a good man, Frank Morrison. I smiled. For the first time in a long time, I believed it. Because I was finally home. Finally seen. Finally valued. Not despite my scars. But because of everything they represented. Courage. Sacrifice. Love. And that was worth more than any apology. That was worth everything.